Iktomi is the trickster spider who represents negative human characteristics, such as greed, lust, and deception. He tries to outsmart animals and humans, but often outsmarts himself. Iktomi is used in traditional Lakota storytelling to teach lessons on how not to do things. Iktomi also can be used to tell how not to do things in the modern contemporary world. It is a well-known fact back some years ago in the early 1990s, you could sell your food stamps for $2 on the dollar, before the new technology food stamp debit cards. Iktomi, the Lakota trickster spider, would buy and sell food stamps to whatever suited his situation best at the time. He also dabbled in dealing weed, crank, and any other illicit drug that made its way into Rapid City and into his conniving little spider leg's reach. Iktomi was a known narc, would continually burn people on drug deals by underweighing 8 balls and grams. He stepped on the white go-fast dust so much with foot powder, you swear you have a lifelong resistance of ever contracting athlete's nostril. There were also the other small crimes he did, like thievery from cars, and thievery from houses. Iktomi quit stealing cars or robbing convenience stores, which he did once in a great while during the 70s. But now he figured with all the new technology of video security cameras in stores and cop computers in patrol cars, the heat was too much these days. For certain, Iktomi was no fool most of the time, but he did spend his fair share in Pennington County Jail. Despite that, he was never bitter about serving time, and always stuck by his motto, "If you can't do the time, don't do the crime." Actually, when Iktomi was doing time, he did his best thinking on the next crimes he could perpetrate once he got out of jail. Each time he thought of a foolproof scheme, like a mad scientist in an old horror flick, he rubbed his 2 front spider legs together, like a mad scientist would rub his hands together in a circular motion. He would even mimic the insidious half-crazed laugh. Iktomi was looking to unload some food stamps down at Wild Things, a strip club on the west side of town, where the girls take everything off. It was mostly a biker hangout with the usual drunks, old perverts, and wide-eyed college kids who sat in the back when alone. But when in groups, the college pukes would make asses of themselves, sitting close to the stage with their alcohol-induced hormones. And of course, the bachelor party people. At least they are the only ones to have a legitimate excuse for making asses of themselves. The groom always gets the free infamous Wild Things handcuff pole dance, where 3 strippers pull off the lucky sap's clothes down to his underwear as he is handcuffed to a stripper pole near the edge of the stage. The strippers do this only using their teeth. But none of this was happening when Iktomi walked in. Iktomi, with his awkward spider legs, sauntered over to Pervert Row, which surrounded the two sides of the stage, an area just barely large enough to rest your elbows, hold an ashtray and a beer. He took a seat next to old gray-muzzled Coyote, who was nursing his tap beer. "What the hell do you want?" Gray-muzzled Coyote mumbled in a gravel tone, out of disgust more than drunkenness. Iktomi shot back with a smile and excited voice. "Hey bro, aren't you glad to see me? I figured you'd be in here." Gray-muzzled Coyote lifted his beer to his snout and took a long drink that downed the last of his flat beer, burping, then saying, "What is it you're trying to sell me this time?" $50 book of food stamps, man. Shit! I'm trying to get rid of stamps myself. Iktomi lifted up red to his fangs and lit up. "Wanna smoke?" "Nah, I'm trying to quit, since the doc says that's what caused my second heart attack." Iktomi took his eyes off the stripper and squinted at Coyote's long gray muzzle and said, "What in hell does the Indian Health Service doctors know anyway? You know they're just med school flunkies." "Yeah, you're probably right. Give me one." They took turns buying rounds of tap beer, saying nothing, their necks craned back, eyeing the blonde-headed stripper with black pussy hair, a biker babe no doubt, by the looks of her tattoos and choice of heavy metal punk rock to dance to. It fit her weathered looks. No doubt she was on speed by her not seeming to tire from her 20-minute set. After a short break, another dancer appeared, much more healthy-looking and voluptuous than the biker stripper. Her tits were fake, but still looked good, even if they looked unnatural, like they were straight out of an R. Crumb comic book. Old gray-muzzled Coyote pointed with his lips towards her, nudging Iktomi with his paw, adding with a drunken smile, "Good one, ain't it?" Iktomi finally decided it was time for that special dollar bill donation. In Wild Things strip club tradition, you put the bill in your mouth, turn around, lean back on the stage, where the stripper takes the dollar bill out of your mouth using her cleavage, and sometimes with her other bodily nooks and crannies. So as Iktomi did this, she bent over with her large, beautiful plastic breasts and took out the bill, dropped it on the stage behind his head. Iktomi got back up, sat down, with a big smile exposing the full length of his cigarette-stained yellow fangs. The stripper smiled back, winking at Iktomi, then looked down, noticed the bill was not green, but brown. She looked back at him in shock, bent over, picked up and unraveled the brown-colored paper. It was a $1 food stamp. The stripper was steamed. She looked over at the bouncer near the front door, pointing at Iktomi, yelling, "Hey, this arachnid piece of shit gave me a $1 food stamp!" As the bouncer was leading Iktomi out in a rush by one of his skinny arms, with his legs wobbling as they tried to keep up, Iktomi yelled back, "I forgot to give you 2 $1 food stamps. That would equal a real dollar." The half a dozen or so patrons busted out laughing, while gray-muzzled Coyote, with his tongue hanging out, yelped with hyena-like laughter, wagging his tail in delight. His parting justification statement was in vain. Iktomi was led out the front door by the biker bouncer, who scolded him not to come back tonight and not to do that again, or he'll be 86th from Wild Things Strip Club.